Hello guys and welcome to Dandaman Geography. Today we're going to talk about this piece of Russia called Kaliningrad Oblast, which is completely separated from the rest of Russia. Now, the reason why this piece of land is Russian is because of this man. Anyways, what does Hitler have to do with all of this? Let's go back in time to find out. Round and round and round we go. Before the 13th century AD, the land now called Kaliningrad Oblast was home to the Old Prussians, a Baltic tribe that spoke an Indo-European language. However, in the 13th century AD, the Teutonic Knights, a Catholic military order founded during the Third Crusade, conquered the Old Prussians and established the fortress on the east coast of the Vistula Lagoon, which was connected to the Baltic Sea. They named this fortress Königsberg, which translates to King's Mountain in German. The fortress was named in honor of King Ottokar II of Bohemia, who led the conquest against the Old Prussians. In the year 1340, the city of Königsberg joined the Hanseatic League, a cooperative of over 200 towns along the North and Baltic Seas. Due to their proximities to oceans, towns within the Hanseatic League immediately began trading relations with each other. Because of this, Königsberg became a major trading hub of the Baltic region, and its economy flourished under immense trade with other towns, part of the Hanseatic League. Starting in the 15th century, however, the Teutonic Order, ruled by Teutonic Knights, started to decline, particularly after suffering a major defeat at the Battle of Grunwald in 1410 against the Polish-Lithuanian alliance. In 1528, land now called Kaliningrad Oblast became part of the Duchy of Prussia. The capital of the Duchy of Prussia was chosen to be, you guessed it, Königsberg, as it was culturally significant to the Prussians. As the Duchy of Prussia steadily became more powerful and Königsberg steadily became more prosperous, it looked as if Prussia was finally about to become a kingdom. Finally, in 1701, to reward the Duchy of Prussia for supporting France in the War of Spanish Succession, King Leopold I allowed Frederick I of Brandenburg to crown himself as King of Prussia. This meant the elevation of Prussia from duchy to kingdom. In theory though, the Kingdom of Prussia wasn't fully independent, as it was still part of the Holy Roman Empire, even though the Duchy of Prussia wasn't, a result of some weird agreement between Leopold I and Frederick I. But nevertheless, Prussia became a kingdom. You might be wondering now, Dandaman, stop talking about Prussia and Königsberg. What does that have to do with Russia besides the fact that Russia is basically Prussia without the P? Well, be patient, we're getting there. Anyways, after the Kingdom of Prussia was formed in 1701, its capital, Königsberg, gradually became wealthier and became a center of German and Prussian intellectual life. Great philosophers and Central Enlightenment thinkers such as Immanuel Kant lived in Königsberg. As Prussia became more powerful, a key leader and my favorite chancellor came into power, Otto von Bismarck. Now, this guy wasn't just some useless, corrupt leader. He had a huge goal in mind, to unify Germany under Prussian leadership. So he went to work. Through the 1860s and 1870s, Otto von Bismarck formed many alliances with the small German states and fought wars with Denmark, Austria, and France, all of which Bismarck won. By 1871, many of the small German states were under Prussian control, and so the Great German Empire was formed, headed by none other than Otto von Bismarck. However, prosperous times for Prussia and Königsberg were soon completely over. As World War I hit in 1914, the city of Königsberg and the surrounding Prussian lands were the site of huge fighting between the Russians and Germans. The Russians wanted to capture Königsberg as it was key for further advancement into German territory. The Germans were able to defend the city throughout the war, despite huge Russian offensives. Although the Germans ultimately lost World War I, they were still allowed to keep the land around Königsberg called German East Prussia, although it was disconnected from the rest of Germany. This wouldn't last long, however, since this guy thought it was a good idea to start another world war, and guess what? Germany lost again. World War II took a big hit on Königsberg. In 1944, the Royal Air Force of Great Britain bombed the city, causing massive damage. Worse yet, in January of 1945, the Soviet Red Army started fiercely attacking the city, and on April 9th, Königsberg surrendered to Soviet forces. After the war ended, the northern portion of German East Prussia, including the city of Königsberg, became part of the Soviet Union, while the southern portion became part of Poland. The Soviets, as always, expelled most of the German population living in Königsberg and made Russians move into this newly Soviet-controlled city. The Soviets then proceeded to rename this city to Kaliningrad, in honor of the Soviet leader Mikhail Lenin. You might be asking now, hey Dandaman, Kaliningrad and its surrounding areas are completely connected to the Soviet Union, so how did it get separated from the bulk of Russia? Well, in December of 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved into 15 countries, the biggest and most powerful of which was the Russian Federation. However, the Russian Federation had a major issue. It doesn't have any warm water ports, or in simpler terms, all its ports freeze up during winter, making it hard for the nation to trade with other countries during the winter months. So, the Russian Federation decided to keep Kaliningrad Oblast, the north part of what was previously German East Prussia, instead of giving it to nearby Lithuania. Today, Kaliningrad, the capital of the Kaliningrad Oblast, is Russia's only major warm water port along the Baltic Sea and is home to Russia's powerful Baltic fleet. So yeah, that is basically how this weird piece of land, over 600 kilometers away from the bulk of Russia, became part of Russia. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all next time.